Welcome back to another video. So today we are back to review the new JJK chapter 248. This chapter has been very good in my opinion. This chapter has been going into more details and giving more clarification on a lot of things that have happened to certain characters. And I really like that because Giga's finally explaining what's been happening to certain characters or where certain characters are. And this chapter hypes up the YUTA versus SUKUNA fight and confirms a lot of things. So I want to go into detail about all that stuff. I'm going to be using the TCB scans, but the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use the TCB scans and show it on the screen and stuff like that. But I'm going to drop this video on Sunday when the official chapter comes out, so I don't have to run into no weird stuff with copyright and shit like that. So we're going to go into the chapter. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to some more content like this, and hit that bell, post consistently. Let's get into it. So the chapter continues off from last chapter where we get to see Itadori hit Sukuna with the extinction sword, and sadly that shit just bounces off of it. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like that. You see like the sword whatever just breaks apart in his hand. I think I would have liked it better if Sukuna actually dodged it compared to him it just bouncing off of him, but it kind of like I guess makes sense because people say multiple times like, oh, if you're super powerful, sometimes you can just beat hacks, kind of like in Bleach, how if you have enough spiritual pressure you can just beat hacks. For example, when Soifon hit Aizen with her Shinkai twice and it's supposed to kill anybody that she hits twice with, but Aizen just has so much spiritual pressure that doesn't work. I went off topic for a bit, but I feel like that's maybe the reason why. But I would have liked it better if Sukuna just dodged out of the way, because it would have gave more like hype to the fact that Sukuna is way faster than Itadori and that the extinction sword can actually like extinguish somebody. And so far, Fraud Man, Judge Man has been a fraud, bro. Not Higuruma. Higuruma was cool and did his thing, but Fraud Man has accomplished nothing in this arc, which is really sad. After the extinction sword doesn't work, Sukuna immediately attacks Itadori with a bunch of flurries of punches and then shoots a slash at him and it slices Itadori back. And then Sukuna says even after his death, Kamatoki is still gone. Even more surprising is the brat's stomach is completely healed, and Sukuna turns behind him and sees Wiwi and Kaori grab Higuruma's body and disappear. Sukuna says figures that child likely possesses an instant teleportation technique. I'm sure Gojo Satoru's corpse disappearing was they're doing as well. So we finally get to know where Gojo's body is, and he says corpse, but we still don't know if Gojo is necessarily dead. And the reason why is because Sukuna says this: are they delivering their wounded to that woman who uses reverse curse technique? And he's talking about Shoko. That can't be healing someone else, is not even half as efficient as healing yourself. Her reverse curse technique has always been fundamentally different from mine or Gojo Satoru's, but even then she doesn't have that kind of power. So they confirm, Sukuna confirms that Shoko is healing Gojo and probably going to try to heal Gojo and Higuruma, and Kaori and Wiwi are the reason that the bodies have been disappearing. Because we've been wondering for a minute where their like Gojo's body's been. Like everyone's been saying, oh, it's still under the rocks. I haven't been even saying that shit like, oh, it's probably still under the rocks. But now we know that they took Gojo's body and they're bringing it back to Shoko. And I don't know if Shoko gonna be able to heal Gojo because that man's literally in half. But if she tries and Gojo just is able to put himself together by a little bit, like for example, if Shoko gives him like a little bit of RCT and Gojo's able to just do the rest of the work, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't expect Gojo to pop back up the rest of this arc. Or if Higuruma is also alive, I don't expect him to pop back up the rest of this arc. I feel like that's more going to be like an epilogue thing, like, you know, at the end of the series where all the people that are alive show up and be like, hey, we're alive and shit like that. Sukuna starts saying, most of this chapter is focused on Sukuna's dialogue, his own monologuing and stuff. And Sukuna says, which means that in just 1 month, this brat learned reverse curse technique. So this confirms that the times we saw Itadori heal the last chapter was because of RCT. That's what he learned how to do, which is really crazy because we still don't know if Itadori has learned anything else like a curse technique yet. Like we've been all theorizing that he's learned piercing blood, but we haven't learned or even been confirmed on that yet. So it's just impressive that Itadori was able to learn RCT in a short amount of time. And it shows like how he was been healing from the last few chapters. Sukuna says, looks like his ability to use cursed energy to strengthen his body isn't the only thing that's improved. I suppose this means that cursed brat will be my main dish. Perhaps I can have a little fun with him, but what is this irritating feeling? And then Itadori is surprised that Sukuna is just standing there like stuck in his own mind and says like, what is Sukuna doing? So this is like the first time Sukuna is like actually like giving Itadori credit. Like he's saying, I'll make you my main dish, like giving him credit, but he's also irritated that he has to give Itadori credit. Like I love that Itadori's biggest hater is Sukuna, where even though Itadori is like doing good things, he's always gonna hate on him. Even though Itadori is stronger than other people that he's calling like incredible, like Higuruma, he's still gonna shit on him. He doesn't care. Like he just feels this disgust towards Itadori. Then Sukuna says, did that sorcerer's death disappoint me? The thought of needing someone else to fulfill me never crossed my mind. If I want to eat, I eat. If I see an eyesore, I kill it. And if it entertains me, I throw it a bone. That's who I am, and I haven't changed. The perfect thing to pass time until I die. A way to pass time until my death. That's all other people are to me. He thinks about the whole fight with Jogo, and he says, I live how I choose. If you're unable to measure up to that, blame yourself. I never thought about it. Ideals, desires that go beyond oneself. Their current ideal is simply to kill me. Those standing before me now are but martyrs, willing to die for their ideal. So just what is this irritating feeling? Men of the same stature challenged me 1,000 years ago too. Could that mean the one who's changed over the past millennium is me? And you're the crux of that, brat. My opponents 1,000 years ago were other people. Their motivations, their ideals, I couldn't even begin to understand any of it. They've seemed to me as nothing more than dying wishes. There were those who boasted strength they didn't have. They were those obsessed with themselves. But this is different. Our souls were forced to coexist within the same body. No matter how many times I break him, no matter how many times I break his soul, he'll get right back up. Because he possesses an indomitable ideal. And I love this chapter because Sukuna is, all this is him giving his credit to Itadori that no matter how many people in the 1,000 years that I fought and killed, you're the only one that I feel like has the same ideal as me, the same motivation, the same drive to accomplish their goals. And you know that Sukuna definitely knows this because he's even said, like, he's been inside of Itadori. We've shared the same body. So he definitely knows his true intentions. He definitely knows his feelings. He definitely knows that throughout the entire series, when he was fighting Mahito, when he was fighting Yuta, when he was fighting Higuruma, when he was fighting even Hanami, when he's fighting all these different people, he always knew that Itadori fully believed that he can win and fully had that drive. And even now fighting Sukuna, even though Sukuna has beaten Gojo and other people, he still knows that Itadori has that motivation and that drive. The idea that a weakling far, far below me can rival me with nothing but strength of will and maintained ideals, that is something deeply unpleasant. My capabilities were simply too great. I wasn't bound by ideals. In fact, I loathed them. That's the sort of human I was. And then Sukuna says, don't consider this to be a change of plans. Right now, just this once, I've decided to take your ideals and mince them to bits. And we see this thing come out of the sky, this orb. And then Kusakabe is there and he says, what is this? And even Shiesty Sorcerer is also there. The Shikigami says, a player has added a new rule to the calling game. Rule 15, authority to begin the great merger between Tengen and humanity has been transferred to Fushiguro Megami. And then Kusakabe thinks Fushiguro, in other words Sukuna, could this be Kenjaku's insurance? So remember when Kenjaku lost to Yuta and he said at the end, like, oh, I got like some insurance, I got someone that's gonna like have my ideals. And this is what he was talking about, that he was going to give his ideals to Sukuna for Sukuna to complete the merger. And so Sukuna sees the orb and then immediately like eats it. And then Kusakabe is like, this likely means Okutsu's surprise attack was successful, which in turn activated that. Regardless, Sukuna doesn't strike me as the slaughter all humanity type. I always thought we'd be better off with him than with Kenjaku, who just wants to commit bizarre jujutsu terrorism out of curiosity. Even if we lose against Sukuna, as long as we took down Kenjaku, then worst case scenario we'll end up in a country that houses that ferocious beast. So Kusakabe is like, fuck. And that's basically what he's saying. He's just like, fuck, bro. Like, I thought that Kenjaku was the bigger issue because at least if Kenjaku was out of the way, we won't have to deal with the merger. But now that Kenjaku is given the merger to Sukuna, now they still have to deal with the fact that the merger can happen. And Sukuna says, I'll start by killing you all. After that, the remaining players in the calling game, then I'll complete the merger and have some fun with the new Tengen. So that confirms what Kenjaku did. And it also confirms that Kenjaku's most likely dead because the next page, Yuta shows up with no stitch marks, no nothing. Because we were all scared and theorizing that over the last few chapters that, oh, what if Kenjaku just takes Yuta's body? But that's confirmed not to happen. So I think Kenjaku's dead. I think it's over. I think Kenjaku is finally out of the series. And I don't know how to feel about it. I think it's fine because I like the Takuba versus Kenjaku fight. But it definitely is kind of surprising that Kenjaku just got one-shotted like that. But then again, this is JJK. People get sneaked all the time. So I shouldn't be that surprised. But it definitely feels a little weird. But I guess Kenjaku's dead at this point. Because if he passed the merger to Sukuna, then he's got to be dead. So that's what I think. I think Kenjaku is dead. And so Yuta shows up and says, sorry, I'm late. And then Sukuna immediately goes and clashes with Yuta. And then Sukuna says, put up a good fight now. If you don't kill me, everyone you want to save will die. So when he's saying that, he's basically trying to hype up Yuta like, yo, you better tee up because if you don't beat me, no one else gonna beat me. You are the strongest you're the strongest person here left. You gotta tee up, bro. What are you prepared to do about it? And so after that, we get the final panel where it's Rika, and Rika's like gigantic. I never realized how big she was now, because her hand is literally covering all of Sukuna's body. And she says, who the hell do you think you're talking to? And then Sukuna says, well, hello, queen. And that's the end of the chapter, and we're going on a break next week. I really like this chapter. We got to finally get confirmed that Itadori is using RCT. We learned where Gojo and Higuruma's bodies are going to, so there's a chance they might still be alive. And we learn more about Sukuna's ideals. Like, people are kind of upset that, oh, so why is Sukuna talking like this? Like, kind of finally not teeing up, like, not being the, like, heartless person he's been, like, the person, like, he's even been saying, like, I kill when I want to and I do what I want whenever. It was just fine. But I also like seeing this introspective thought process that he's had the last chapter. Like, I like seeing his thoughts and him getting a little irritated that, like, yo, like, it's crazy how after 1,000 years I've treated people this way and then people still think they can beat me. Like, it's just crazy. But it's not like he's like getting super mad about it. He's just a little irritated. It's just like a little lapse of moment, like a moment of lapse, like just thinking like why do people still think they can beat me? But I do like that he finally gave credit to Itadori's strength and his ability to get stronger and learn curse techniques, or not curse techniques, cursed abilities without a curse technique still. Still not confirmed if he has a curse technique yet. So I think that's very, very cool. And that'll be it for the chapter. There will be a break next week, so there will be no JJK. So, but thank you guys for watching the video. Leave a like, subscribe, and see more content like this, and hit that bell post consistently. And know down below what you think about the chapter down below. So I'm gonna see you guys next time. Peace.